Can war ever be just? For the United States, this question shapes policy, law, and the lives of millions. This film traces the moral framework America invokes and tests it against history, technology, and human cost. We will look at principles, why nations claim justified force, and what those claims mean for civilians and combatants. From World War II to recent conflicts, the American narrative alternates between necessity, error, and moral reckoning. Today, new technologies and global norms complicate old answers. The stakes are both strategic and ethical. Listen closely. The laws, the rhetoric, and the consequences all speak to whether any war can be justified. The idea of a just war has ancient roots, but modern legal form. Just ad bellum and just in bello. From the U.S. perspective, legitimate authority, just cause, right, intention, last resort, probability of success, and proportionality matter. These principles are legal markers but also moral claims. Standards America cites to justify intervention abroad, yet applying them is rarely straightforward. Facts, politics, and uncertainty shape every interpretation. Legal frameworks like the UN Charter and US statutes sit alongside ethical judgment and public opinion. To understand justice in war, we must test these principles against real American decisions and their human outcomes. World War II is often cited as a paradigmatic just war for the United States, a response to aggression and atrocity. Yet even in victory, moral complexity remained, strategic bombing, civilian suffering, and long-term consequences. Korean and Vietnam Wars revealed limits to probability of success and questions of legitimate national interest. Post 9/11 interventions raised new issues: preemptive force, asymmetrical enemies, and civilian harm from counterinsurgency. Iraq and Afghanistan forced debates over intelligence, justification, and the cost of long-term occupation. Each case shows how one principle may conflict with another. Success versus proportionality, authority versus public consent. Modern warfare introduces drones, cyber operations, and remote strikes that distance decision-makers from harm. Distance can erode moral imagination and complicate proportionality assessments, essential to just war reasoning. Civilian protection remains central, yet fog, intelligence failures, and haste produce tragic mistakes. Accountability mechanisms, courts, inquiries, and public scrutiny test whether U.S. actions meet moral and legal standards. Ethical leadership requires candid assessment of mistakes and a commitment to learning and reparation where possible. The U.S. must weigh security aims against lasting harm, remembering that justice for victims is part of any legitimate response. So can war be just? From a U.S. perspective, the answer is conditional, dependent on intention, means, and consequences. Justice demands clarity of purpose, restraint in force, honest accounting, and durable plans for peace and reconstruction. Reform in doctrine, oversight, and engagement with international norms strengthens the claim to justice. Yet moral ambiguity persists. Even well-intentioned wars can produce unforeseeable harm and contested legacies. Ultimately, responsibility rests with leaders, institutions, and citizens to demand reasoned judgment and humane limits. The question remains open. To claim justice, the United States must pair power with humility and clear moral accountability.